Common and Jennifer Hudson have recently startled everyone by revealing a secret that no one anticipated it. Following months of silence, hidden appearances, and murmurs, the powerful couple has finally welcomed their first child together. Indeed, yes, I did hear that. A covert pregnancy avoided being near the cameras, and the headlines have concluded with a stunning new life. However, how did they conceal it? From the general public's view? Furthermore, why are fans referring to this as the most surprising, the year's biggest celebrity baby announcement? Stay with me, as this is the only narrative that becomes more unexpected. Hudson, Jennifer, and Common have long been regarded as admirable separately for their amazing ability, charm, and visibility in the entertainment sector. Jennifer, a Grammy-winning and Oscar-winning actress-singer, and the renowned rapper Common and activist appeared to be a strange first as a pair. But when the two fans rejoiced when they revealed their romance, their partnership as one of the most uplifting tales of love. However, nobody might have foreseen the turn that has simply sprang to life. As the world became read interviews carpeting and meticulous, well-chosen social media content behind the moments, Common Men and Jennifer were discreetly starting one of the most personal and transformative experiences it can take, getting ready to welcome a youngster. In the video for today, we're delving into every aspect of this unexpected revelation. From the hints that fans failed to see how the couple was able to protect their pregnancy from the photographers, and lastly, the moment they brought their child into the world to the world. You'll be amazed at how everything came together. And this is where it becomes even more fascinating. This isn't merely a celebrity baby story. It has to do with love, fortitude, privacy, and the lengths of two strong characters were prepared to travel in order to safeguard anything holy. After seeing this video, you'll view Common and Jennifer Hudson in a whole new light. So, have a seat and pay attention to what we're talking about. To Find is among the most charming but enigmatic celebrity travels throughout the year. To comprehend why this new chapter has a lot of power, go return to Jennifer's early days, Common story, and Hudson. For many years, each of them was admired in its own right. Jennifer Hudson became well known as American Idol finalist prior to winning an Oscar for her performance in Dreamgirls, have been honored for more than simply both for her powerful vocals and resiliency following unthinkable individual tragedy. She developed a profession that is respected, demonstrating her as a musician and an actor who able to endure over time. Typical nonetheless left his mark on the world in hip-hop. Renowned for his socially thoughtful lyrics and indisputable charm, and subsequently his acting career and Common Men became more than just activists, merely a rapper. He spoke with reason, someone in Hollywood who was able to combine genuineness and artistry. Additionally, while Common and Jennifer both led extremely public life, their romance developed much more subtly than most people anticipated. There have been rumors that the two are in love, initially appeared many years ago, but neither hurried to make sure of anything. Admirers after witnessing them together at incidents, but the two maintained their relationship, private, taking care to steer clear of the type of media circus that frequently envelops famous couples. Regarding Jennifer, who has encountered the difficulties of being the center of attention, privacy was a necessity. For Common, who had been connected to well-known partnerships previously, it appeared that he desired something real, something more grounded. When the pair eventually verified their relationship, supporters rejoiced. Social media was inundated with remarks regarding how lovely they appeared together. Two successful celebrities, both respected for their ability and personality, now bonded by love. However, even in that case, neither one of them showed out their love for tabloids or cameras. Rather, they allowed the connection develops discreetly apart from the limelight, while sometimes sharing snippets of their joy during interviews. And within that quiet, sheer, purposeful seclusion that their relationship deepened. Although Hollywood couples frequently disintegrate due to public pressure, Jennifer and Common paid heed, taking a different route. They constructed their partnership that takes place behind closed doors, gaining knowledge from their history, deciding not to allow outside noise to control the future. This deliberate dedication to safeguarding later on, their love will be crucial in the way they were able to preserve something as sacred as a pregnancy. However, fans at the time merely believed the pair was merely playing it quiet. Nobody was able to have foreseen the secret they were getting ready to hold on. Since, as we shall show, what will happen in this story's next section appeared to be typical privacy. In fact, the initial phase of protecting a pregnant journey that is so skillfully concealed that even experienced paparazzi didn't notice. When news revealed that Common and Jennifer Hudson had welcomed their first kid together, fans asked a straightforward inquiry. How did we overlook this? In a time when celebrities seldom ever leave the house, without being watched by a dozen cameras, what happened to one of Hollywood's most talked about couples who are able to maintain something is this enormous thing concealed? The solution is in the distinctive manner that Jennifer and Common approached their life and their connection. From the start, they both stated unequivocally that privacy more important than publicity. Jennifer especially has always been protected regarding her private life. Following suffering an unfathomable grief when tragically, family members were killed. She learned to hug her loved ones close years ago. One shuts and protects them from the public view. That need for seclusion escalated after she gave birth to David, her first son. Thus, when she and Common made the decision to have children, combined, secrecy wasn't merely it was a priority, a desire. Rather of declaring they were expecting with Instagram posts or picture shoots, the pair made conscious decisions to stay away from conjecture. Making public appearances turned into uncommon. When Jennifer finally left the house, she chose to wear looser, flowing dresses and meticulously manicured appearances that showed nothing. Interviews that took place during this time was managed in a highly professional manner, concentrating on her tasks instead of her private life. Typical, who is typically frank and active during interviews, likewise steered clear of inquiries on his connection. In retrospect, the quiet was telling. Fans were aware of minor adjustments, however, they didn't match the dots. There were rumors that Jennifer had stepped away from the limelight to concentrate on acting or music. Others believed the pair was simply preoccupied with their life away from the cameras. Social media posts become slower, and when they were thoughtfully chosen. Smiling photos, highlights from a career, or ambiguous motivational captions. Behind the scenes, but Common Men and Jennifer were experiencing one of the most personal and sentimental experiences of their lives. People close to the pair indicated the pregnancy was a profoundly personal encounter for both of them. They wished to relish the procedure free of the continuous sound of external voices, without bias, and without the intrusive headlines that frequently obscure famous pregnancies. And astonishingly, they succeeded. In a time when paparazzi profit from insider information and leaks advice, the inner circle of Jennifer and Common stayed utterly faithful. Friends, family, and even respected co-workers, their choice to keep the information confidential. This degree of defense is uncommon in Hollywood, where secrets are frequently revealed. However, it spoke a lot about the love and regard for Jennifer and Common's union. Only then did fans start to piece items together following the baby's arrival. Examining ancient pictures, suddenly they became aware of the loose attire, the lack of specific occasions, and even the deliberate camera angles. At the time, what appeared commonplace, wastefully a well-thought-out scheme to safeguard their travels. However, this is where it becomes even more intriguing. Jennifer didn't simply keep the pregnancy going, silent. They transformed it into a patent assertion. In a society that is fixated on, they reminded us not to share too much. Everything must be made public. A few items are intended to be holy, to be experienced in private, discreetly, and without the burden of the world observing. And when the news eventually broke, there was more to the surprise than the infant. It had to do with how they had outperformed the fans, the media, and even the ever-watchful entertainment sector. However, this is just the starting. Because of their confidentiality startled everyone, but the truth is in the reasons they decided to conceal it. Additionally, how this infant is more than just a new one. Life. It stands for atonement, recovery, as well as a new phase for Jennifer and regular people. At first glance, it could appear easy. Common and Jennifer Hudson desired seclusion, so they maintained their pregnancy a secret. However, when you look more profoundly, this choice wasn't solely about dodging paparazzi or sidestepping blogs that spread rumors. It had to do with something lot more intimate with roots in. Both of their histories, suffering, recovery, and the quest for harmony. Regarding Jennifer, the world has witnessed her at her, Hudson, greatest peaks and her darkest valleys. She was a breakthrough star on American and Oscar-winning actress's Idol, demonstrating to the world her greater, more than just a loud vocalist. However, tragic events followed her accomplishment. And Jennifer went through one of the worst devastating losses that can be imagined, the savage killing of her brother, mother, as well as a small nephew. She was shaken by the catastrophe, the whole world. She was scarred by it, careful and fiercely guarding those she cares about. That particular moment characterized how Jennifer would spend her remaining years' life. She could get money from fame, opportunities, and acknowledgement, but it couldn't protect her from suffering. From this moment on, Jennifer became extremely purposeful in keeping her personal information private, intimate life, particularly with relation to family. David, her son, has mostly grown up out of the public eye, and when Jennifer shares tidbits about it's measured carefully for him. She is aware directly experienced the risks of exposure, and she recognizes the need of keeping the peace from the general public's view. Let's now examine Typical. The actor and rapper is well known for his advocacy, his artistic abilities, and he's a deliberate attitude to living. However, he also has faced his fair share of difficulties. In the past connections, Common has frequently been the topic of rumors and news stories from prominent relationships with celebrities such as Tiffany, Serena Williams, and Erykah Badu Haddish. These connections brought interest, but they also brought examination. People frequently asked him dedication, his capacity for marriage, and even his motivations. For example, those recurring stories turned into draining. Thus, when he and Julia something changed, and Hudson came together, they were more than just two famous people dating. Two individuals who had endured personal suffering, public suffering and hardships, and years of being characterized by others. Their bond wasn't about showing the world anything. It was about discovering serenity within one another. And for this reason, the confidentiality surrounding Jennifer's pregnancy held great significance. It has nothing to do with lying. It concerned defense. Defense against criticism. Defense against criticism. Defense from a society that all too frequently feels entitled to all the specifics of a life of a celebrity. For Jennifer, the pregnancy was revered. For Common, it was redemptive. Together, they made the decision that the purpose of this chapter was not to cameras. It was for them. An additional layer timing is key to the concealment. Common is 52 and Jennifer is 43. Right now period of life. Pregnancy may result in dangers, difficulties, and unknowns. The pair might not have wanted to confront rumors or pressure from the public till they were certain that everything was secure and steady. Imagine experiencing such a delicate trek just to have it examined by tabloids and discussed by internet strangers. That's the type of no couple needs stress. Rather, Common and Jennifer formed a bubble around oneself, a secure area where they could savor every second without intervention from the outside. It enabled them to completely feel the happiness, the fear, with the expectation of having children together without the continuous cacophony of external viewpoints. However, there's another strong argument for why confidentiality was important a lot. Symbolism. By accepting a child quietly and discreetly, Jennifer and Common said something. They displayed that love doesn't require approval from the general public. That is the most exquisite. Things in life can be gently cultivated, and that stillness might be louder at times, greater than any headline. Consider it. When the news was finally released, the shock. The waves sounded more intense than if they had declared it months in advance. By remaining, they created anticipation in silence without even making an effort. The realization seemed more significant, more potent since no one noticed approaching. It was more than a baby declaration. It was an announcement of affection, tenacity, and development. And this is the most intriguing aspect. This choice could alter how other celebrities get ready to become parents. Within a culture infatuated with sharing, Jennifer and Common's decision might encourage others to cling to their most treasured moments, to their hearts. Thus, on the surface, yes, they didn't tell anyone they were pregnant. However, when the layers are removed, it wasn't only a matter of confidentiality. It has to do with recovery, shielding the present from the past, and creating their own future phrases. However, if this was the cause of what transpires now that they are silent, is the secret out? How are Jennifer and parenting is often navigated in the spotlight? Furthermore, what does this signify for their future partnership? Remain with me, since in the following section we'll examine the fourth portion, the infant's arrival, how the world became aware of it, and the emotional responses that ensued. For Common and Jennifer, Hudson maintained their greatest life secret hidden away out of sight. However, as we all see, no secret endures forever, particularly in Hollywood. Additionally, when it was finally revealed that Jennifer Hudson and Common had received their first child, the world entered startle. However, the query still stands. How was the news spread? Did the pair ultimately make the decision to share it themselves, or did the narrative escape through the typical network of leaks, insiders, and murmurs? Based on what insiders have disclosed, the initial clues arrived rumors in social media. Supporters started after observing that Jennifer had been remarkably silent on the internet for weeks. Others noted that her most recent post appeared contrived or pre-recorded, as though she were purposefully maintaining her in real time. Life concealed. Common, meanwhile, had left become what numerous admirers characterized as defensive mode, which only shows up when chosen events, avoiding personal inquiries, interviews, and posting ambiguous inspirational sayings in place of his typical behind-the-scenes photos. Next, the moment that made all the difference arrived. There were reports from a close source, verifying that Jennifer Hudson and Common had given birth to a healthy child, collectively. Like wildfire, the news spread throughout blogs, entertainment channels, and social media networks. What caused it more startling was the fact that no public announcement of pregnancy has been made. No pictures of a baby bump, no clues whatsoever. For supporters and admirers, it was similar to the overnight. The baby had emerged. The internet immediately erupted with responses. Fans were both on Twitter astonished and overjoyed. Some were unable to think the pair had succeeded in doing such a personal trip in such a public sphere. Jennifer was commended by others, and Common for providing an illustration of how to safeguard what is really important. A single user composed, "In a world where individuals Jennifer Hudson, you overshare everything. Common recently demonstrated to us that privacy, if you appreciate it, it is still feasible, sufficient." Another admirer wrote, "This baby is already legendary." Without any paparazzi photos, nothing, no leaks, only love and secrecy. The responses on Instagram were brimming with congrats and admiration. Other artists, celebrities, and admirers deluged Common's and Jennifer's heart emoticons in the comment sections, darling emoticons and romantic messages, commended them for assuming responsibility for their own story rather than allowing for them. Tabloids do it, and then there was the media. Entertainment sources headlines rushed to cover the story, similar to Common. Shock and Jennifer Hudson trending topics were dominated by fans with baby news listings, continually speculative gossip blogs regarding how they were able to conceal the who knew what this meant, pregnancy, for their partnership. TV presenters disputed it on radio, talked about it, and YouTube was overflowing with responses, videos that analyze every aspect. But what caused this announcement to be so distinct? Rather than being scandalized or Common and Jennifer were chastised, honored. In a society that frequently thrives on discrediting celebrities, this was a pleasantly upbeat occasion. No one was making fun of or asking questions. Instead, they were cheering them on, their capacity to stay in charge in a society in which privacy is considered a luxury. When Jennifer herself finally spoke, she did it in the press in the most Jennifer as elegantly as possible, sincere and subtle. According to accounts, she chose not to wear a gaudy disclosure or a significant press conference. Rather, she kept it brief, sending a message of thankfulness, happiness, and affection on the significance of this moment for her and how fortunate she was to receive fresh breath into the earth. Typical echo-share feelings, considering fatherhood and how it was altering his viewpoint once more. The birth of their child was a cultural phenomenon rather than merely news. Moment. Reminding followers and admirers that lies beneath the recognition, the honors, and celebrities are human, despite the headlines being deserving of happiness privately before distributing it to the planet. Now for the intriguing twist. The abrupt disclosure and the secrecy didn't simply take people by surprise. It even increased investment. Rather than losing attention, fans' curiosity grew. What is the name of the child? Is it a boy or a girl? What does this signify for Jennifer, girl? And the future of Common? All of a sudden, this narrative wasn't your typical celebrity tale. News. A mystery was developing in news. A mystery was developing in everyone wanted answers in real time. However, this is where the narrative becomes even more deeper, since the birth of the child didn't just cause a public uproar. It also sparked discussions concerning Jennifer, considering the relationship between Common, their future, and if this infant might be the pivotal moment that establishes their legacy during their time together. When Jennifer Hudson and the shock of hearing the Common's baby news was just the start. The topic of conversation swiftly changed to a larger query. How does this affect them now? Because the reality is that this infant transforms all things, not just in their private lives, as well as in their professions, their reputation, and how they will be seen in the future. Let's begin by discussing their relationship. The relationship between Jennifer and Common had always been a little enigmatic. They never displayed their affection in front of the cameras, the manner in which certain couples in Hollywood weren't always sharing selfies or creating moments for the paparazzi. Instead, they keeping their relationship largely confidential, displaying just enough evidence to prove they were jointly, but never to the extent that people could completely understand them. This worked for them. It allowed them to expand .San's external sounds. However, now, with the stakes for the child in the photo are higher, they aren't merely dating anymore. The family they're creating comes with new duties, new anticipations, and for a lot of admirers, a feeling of permanence. Individuals are now inquiring, will marriage come next? Will Jennifer and Common ultimately formally announces in the public's eyes? A few admirers think that having child will solidify their relationship, which makes them among Hollywood's most esteemed authority couples. Jennifer's powerhouse professions in acting, music, and daytime television, and Common's Grammy performance, as well as Oscar-winning activism, artistic talent, as well as acting. Collectively, they symbolize fortitude, tenacity, and ability. When you include a youngster, and their union feels like fate all of a sudden, satisfied. Naturally, though, not everyone thinks so. Skeptics question whether this infant will put strain on the connection. Jennifer and Common have rigorous jobs, frequently focusing on many initiatives in various cities. Schedule balancing was already a challenge. Now that they have a baby, there will be even higher demands. Are they able to withstand the pressure, or will it challenge their relationship in ways they've never encountered previously? Then comes the query, image. For many years, Common Man has fought a story that he finds difficult, with sustained dedication. Fans recall his well-known relationships that ended lacking steadiness over time. However, being a father to Jennifer alters that perception. For many, this infant demonstrates something the general public doesn't fear: deep dedication. He's prepared for accountability, development, and construction, something enduring. For Jennifer, the word baby has special meaning. She's long admired for more than just her voice as well as her acting ability, but for her strength in triumphing over tragedy. Her admirers view her as a woman who has suffered from excruciating pain, nevertheless keeps rising over everything with elegance. This infant is a symbol of happiness after challenges, a hopeful new chapter and rejuvenation. It changes her narrative in the general public. From Thor to survivor, from unmarried mother to spouse and mother once more. Furthermore, we must overlook the cultural influence. Common and Jennifer Hudson are not your typical celebrities. There are two of them, Black entertainment icons, respected not just for their creative abilities, but also for the manner in which they have conducted themselves in the public domain. Their choice to retain the pregnancy in secret before disclosing their own terms for the baby's arrival has established a new standard for how, in particular, celebrities of color can recover stories that the media has saw twists a lot. This is more significant for fans, more than just rumors. It's a strong message of strength, independence, and affection. Let's now discuss careers. Possessing a baby is capable of changing priorities. Jennifer has been seeing a surge in my career with her playing roles, discussion shows, and ongoing impact on music. The Common has been consistently employed in the music, cinema, as well as activism. They could be slowed by a baby, down, or it might motivate them to take new heights. Being a parent frequently changes an artist's viewpoint, providing them with new motivation, fresh depth in creativity, and greater motivation to make a lasting heritage. Consider Jennifer releasing an album containing a lot of love-related topics, resilience, and motherhood. Image writing about parenthood, as opposed to typical writing, hope, and creating a more favorable world for the following generation. This infant isn't simply transformative for them personally, it might reinterpret their work in ways that we not even thought of yet. However, this is the turn. Although some believe the baby will improve their professional relationships, others think it might also encourage more scrutiny than before. Every action they take will now be examined in detail. Each absence, each and every public appearance, each performance. If they seem overly preoccupied, critics will question whether they're ignoring their offspring. If they retreat, people will make assumptions on whether they're losing its significance. The limelight will be more radiant than before, and it will be more difficult to protect their privacy, more so than previously. However, if someone is prepared in order to manage this delicate balance, it's Common and Jennifer Hudson. Both of them have spent enough time in the field to understand how to set limits. They've both made it through criticism, obstacles, and individual tragedy. This infant doesn't simply stand for change. It stands for evidence that they are capable of creating something lovely in spite of everything they had to deal with. This is the element that keeps fans interested, captivated. There is still mystery. Jennifer and Common have not yet disclosed the infant's name, sex, or even exchanged pictures. The public now has just enough of them, not enough to please, but enough to celebrate interest, and that's precisely how they enjoy it. By retaining specific information, they keep everything under control in private. Additionally, as we've seen, the secret to their narrative. Thus, this baby does alter everything for their affection, their professions, their reputation, and their the future. However, the most important query still exists. How are they going to strike a balance? Parents who are well-known? And could this youngster serve as the anchor that ultimately establishes them as one of which couples are the most iconic in Hollywood? The most iconic in Hollywood?